Alright folks, a wonderful good morning everybody and welcome back here to my channel. God Shadow here. Today I'm trying to make a couple of videos since I was absent for a couple of weeks. So I've been working a lot on mono white humans, or white weenie, or whatever you want to call it, definite axis. It's somewhere between there. And by now I think I've figured out a very competitive list that is performing pretty well against like the top 8 decks in the meta. The sideboard needs 3 different cards, and that's basically these 3. So I'm currently playing 1 Hollow Moonlight and 2 Adeline, but these 3 cards should be all Vars. Other than that though, the deck is pretty much set, and I'm pretty happy with it. A couple of cards that I want to highlight here are Seagate Wreckage, a card that is just very well positioned in the meta, I think, as it provides a constant flow of card advantage against most of the decks, as we're a pretty aggressive deck and can like spill out our hand pretty quickly, like turn 3, turn 4. Most of the time we have like 1 or 0 cards in hand, and thus we can activate the Seagate Wreckage. The Seagate Wreckage is being supported by both Ambitious Farmhand here, a card that you don't usually see in Modern, but I think is very good in this deck because it provides consistency. As I said, it supports Seagate Wreckage in being on curve online, if I draw it, of course that is. And it also provides, like down the road, a creature that has lifelink, which is actually pretty cool as well. So overall, pretty happy with this card. Then there's Guardian of Nubenalia, which is basically the key card in this deck, and a card that's been completely ignored in Modern thus far, but I think it's like one of the best cards that humans have access to because it does everything that you want. It protects itself. You can even discard cards that you don't need, like additional land drops. So even with Ambitious Farmhand, like additional lands that we draw, we can just discard to protect Guardian of Nubenalia. Then it provides consistency through the scry effects. I can search for answers, I can search for threats, whatever. And also it makes my other creatures that I want to protect, like Esper Sentinel, like Brul Cathar, etc., just better by being on the battlefield because I can enlist them into Guardian of Nubenalia. Other than that, there's Hopeful Initiate in here because there's a lot of artifacts and enchantments in the meta, and this guy is basically a slightly less aggressive Champion of the Parish, but does have the added benefit of being able to just remove enchantments and artifacts without having to sacrifice anything on my end. Therefore, I think it's just supremely good currently. Of course, it benefits from both Champion of the Parish and Thalia's Lieutenant, but also can generate like training counters by itself. And then there's the top end with Non-Peacekeeper, a card that's just very versatile and is good against like creature decks and non-creature decks alike. Of course, post-board, just as with Cryptic in Grixis Control, post-board, you most of the time have more specific answers. So it doesn't stay against creatures, and it also doesn't, unless we're playing against Yawgmoth, I should say. And it also doesn't stay against mid-range decks. But other than that, very good card. And then Brul Cathar, it's just necessary against a couple of the archetypes, while not so great against others. In the sideboard, we have a lot of hate for red and black, which I think, if you're in white, you should take advantage of having access to Sanctifier and Auric Champion. Then there's March of Otherworldly Light, except for Planeswalkers, it basically hits everything. Lorraine of the Third Path, a card that is a good curve topper, I think, as it provides an efficient way of dealing with enchantments and artifacts as well that doesn't rely on having counters in the battlefield. And of course, you can also draw additional cards if you want to. Adeline for a little bit of additional power top end, and then Hollow Moonlight. As I said, like this should be all Vars. In paper I'm playing 3, but online they are so expensive that I just don't want to buy them. So let's hope that we're dodging creativity here, because without the All-Vars, Creativity is really not a good matchup. But with the 3 All-Vars, it's actually a pretty decent matchup. So Across the board, I think, except for maybe Hammer Time. Hammer Time is like 50-50. But you're positive against Murktide, you're positive against Scam, you're positive against Living End. So, what else is there? Like, there's just a lot of decks that you have very, very reasonable chances against. So let's jump into a league, see how it goes. Alright, welcome to round number 1. We're on the play, which is good, but only if we also keep out. Oh my goodness. Not a great hand, but I think we have to keep here on a mulligan. I'm gonna ditch a plains because I want to have the colorless source of caverns to go alongside the Seagate Wreckage, so that on turn 4 we can start drawing additional cards. And it's somewhat likely that we either hit a land or an ambitious farmhand. That's why I did drop a plains there. So let's see. Definitely not a good start here for us. Underworld Cookbook. Alright. So this requires us to have disruption. So an odd Peacekeeper would be good. Thalia would be okay, I think. This is okay-ish. It's not great, but at least we can protect it. And then we can also attack with a Hopeful Initiate, generate a token. A counter, I should say, not a token. And then potentially we can go after the Underworld Cookbook at some point. Alright, so this is an issue. Hopefully it doesn't get it into play this turn, because this thing has Vigilance and Trample. So very difficult to overcome for us. We need at least one attack with Hopeful Initiate. Post board, of course. We do have a couple of options, but we shall have to see. Another cookbook. Now I'm interested in... Alright, so he does have another one. Yeah, so this is the absolute worst case scenario, as he will have the Feasting Troll King in play, and 2 cookbooks, and Asmo blah 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 blah. So I think at this point we need to concede. Oh no, he's making a mistake actually. Oh, this is okay. So I'm gonna discard a Hopeful Initiate here. Because for the most part I don't need to anyway. That thing's indestructible, so that's not an issue. So now he doesn't get the Feasting Troll King into play this turn. He's not playing out the other Underworld Cookbook. Why? Okay. Let's see. This is good though. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna attack with both. Hope that he blocks, which is of course unlikely, but if he doesn't block, then we still get 6 damage in. And then I can kill at least one Underworld Cookbook, thus... Okay, he even blocks, wow. Alright, so that thing dies. So now I cannot utilize it right now, I think. Let's see. Because of the 3 damage on my Hopeful Initiate, I probably need to wait. Let's see if it continues discarding stuff. But because he doesn't have the... He doesn't do it. Alright. Cool. I think I should do it right now, right? Is there anything else that I need to kill here? I don't think so. But if he doesn't have anything good to discard, then I think this is the best play for me. Maybe I should have taken both from the Hopeful Initiate instead of doing what I just did. So I think I'm going to take up to 3 because our best draw is an Anointed Peacekeeper. Let's see. Alright, yeah, this is probably going to be a Devastation. Which is very good, indeed. He's going to get his 4th Underworld Cookbook of Asmo. And can play that as well, and then very much depends on whether or not he wants to cast the Troll King. Oh no, he cannot, right? Yeah, he can't. But he can kill shit from me now. So probably has to go after the Hopeful Initiate now, knowing that... No, he's not. Alright. He is not doing that. So let's see. Yeah, I think I'm going up to 3. Damn it. That would have been even better, of course. But that's okay. We're pumping the Thalia's Lieutenant at least once. Getting the planes, and then next turn we can start utilizing the C8 wreckage. I can't attack though, because the Thalia's Lieutenant isn't big enough. So we need to wait for 1 turn. And then I can even attack with this if we draw another creature. Okay, let's see. So if we get rid of this Underworld Cookbook, I think we've disabled most of our opponent's deck. Let's see if we're going to be able to do that. Oh, Ren is also good here. Can kill my Ambitious Farmhand. Let me put a stop to upkeep, and then I need to think about whether or not, like, because we need to kill that Ren in 6, right? So I need to be able to, yeah, so I can't do it in upkeep. Like, I need the draw. If we draw lands, then I can draw an additional card, but if we draw a creature that's not a 3-drop, then I need to have the trigger. Okay, that's good. That's very good. Boseiju. Well, Boseiju I don't really care about, TBH. But I need to kill the Ren in 6 now, right? So I think I'm gonna name Underworld Cookbook though. Yeah. Let me name Underworld Cookbook, World Cookbook, Underworld Connections, Underworld. Where is it? Ah, the Underworld Cookbook. Alright, I see. Alright, so now both of these are gonna have 3 power, so we're gonna be able to get rid of the Renin 6. And he won't be able to do anything about it. Also, he can't activate the Underworld Cookbook this turn anymore, which means Asmo doesn't do a whole lot anymore. Ren 6 dies, which is important to me because I don't want, like, if he utilizes the Boseiju, yeah, you can't do that anymore. Right. But if he's willing to discard the Boseiju there, that means he's not going after my Seagate Wreckage, which is actually the most important thing because that's my card advantage here. Opponent's in a very good mood. So, yeah, there's a couple of things that we definitely want to have here. So I need to have the Brutal Cathar because of the Feasting Troll King, because I can't otherwise get rid of it, right? Hopeful Initiate is good. I think that Thalia is actually not that good, especially on the draw, because our opponent, aside from Cookbook, he's not playing too many spells, and it dies to Ren and 6. Definitely want to have the March, because that's an easy kill for the Asmo. And he's been super aggressive with the Guardian of Nubenalia, but I think it actually doesn't do a whole lot here. Yes, it stays on the battlefield as long as I have cards in hand. Sorry, I had to leave my... open the door to my cats. But I'm not sure if I actually want it here. I think not. I think I want to have Adeline and Lorraine instead. And I also need the Sanctifiers. So on the draw, I'm going to cut 2 vials. Alright, let me cut Lorraine again. For the same reason that I cut the... Thalia. Okay, let's keep. So I'll probably start off with Nespa Sentinel as lol, what? Alright, so this is not an issue at all, like whatsoever, I guess. Lol, Ether Vial even. Let's go with Nespa Sentinel. I think that's the best thing that I can do right now. And then if he plays an Asmo, I can go after it with the March. Now Underworld Cookbooks are going to be more expensive. The real issue is going to be Renin 6, which he probably does have. Because then I can't really play a whole lot. Alright, so this guy is okay, I think. Doesn't do a whole lot. Or does it? Let's see. So next turn, I very much want to go with the Ambitious Farm hand. So I could go with Thalia's Lieutenant right now to be able to attack. On the flip side though, I could also go with a champion of the parish here and kill this dude as soon as he plays an artifact. Now, let me do that. I think that's better. And then next turn I can go with Ambitious Farmhand into March. Sorry for the background noise, my cat's playing with some metal rod or something. So let's see what he does. Alright, Saga is also a good target for Otherworldly Light, which is good. There's Shadow Spear. Okay, so he's gonna pay, which is interesting. So let me go after this thing right now, right? Because I think that provides too much card advantage. So let me go do this. To get rid of that thing. Then we're gonna pump the champion for a bit. We're gonna take away the Resist Saga. Rulkathar is also good pickup in case there's a Troll King coming or whatever. Then we're gonna go yes, planes, do this, kill here. Well, let me attack first, just in case he has some sort of interaction. And then we should be in a good spot, I think. Because now Ren 6 isn't a good card. Asmo is also not going to be great. Yeah, our opponent conceded. GG's. Alright, welcome to round number 2. We're on the play again, which is always good. Hopefully we have a better hand this time around on turn 1. Our opponent's playing either Elementals or Control. I think I'm going to keep, but if we're playing against Elementals, we can't win. Sorry. Yeah, so Elementals is a very, very bad matchup. Control is okay-ish, but also not great. I like blue-eye Control, I should say, because they, of course, have access to sweepers and just a lot of spot removal, plus Solitude that doesn't care about Esper Sentinel, etc. And Elementals is even worse because they're just playing the value game with removal. And this looks to be Elementals. And then, yeah, so you can win against many things, but you just cannot win against Elementals with this deck. It's a little bit, you know, unfortunate, but that's just how it goes. What you sign up for. And I don't think there's any human stack that can actually deal with Elementals. It's just not feasible. So I can go play Mutavault, activate the Mutavault, attack for 5, put him down to 13, plus the fetch land. And then I'd strongly assume that we're running into some sort of Fury or Ephemerated Solitude or whatever. Like, our hand's great, can't complain, but we just don't have the cards to beat this deck. Also, Seagate Wreckage provides, like, is already online next turn. will provide card advantage down the road. Let's see. So if there ever was a time for my opponent to become active, it's definitely now. Needs to do something. Otherwise, this is 3, 6, 8, 11. Then he can't fetch. So we basically have lethal here. He has to do something. It's also somewhat likely, since he's playing 5 colors there, I assume that he does have access to Leyland Binding. Alright, we're gonna draw a card. Putting him down to 6. This still requires my opponent to do something next turn. He could, of course, have like a sweeper or whatever. Like, it's a little bit surprising that he is playing Fire Eyes there. I think. But let's see. Ardent play. Are we playing against Rhinos? Yeah, we're playing against Rhinos. Wow. I did not think that was what we're actually playing against here. Let me see. So we have 2 Brutal Cathars, which is actually pretty good in this matchup, generally speaking. Our opponent certainly does have... I mean, he would have played a Fury if he had it, right? Yeah, so we're gonna play Brutal Cathar and the Guardian of Nubenalia so that we can get through the Rhinos at some point. As long as he can't get rid of my Esper Sentinels. That means we will... Like, as long as he cannot remove this, we will draw a continuous flow of cards that we can discard to Guardian of Nubenalia. Next turn, we should have a lethal attack at the ready. Like, it could attack like for 2 damage here, but I don't think that's worth it. Let's see. Opponent's definitely looking for a Fury here. I don't think a whole lot else helps him. So I think post board we're gonna go Adeline because we need their card quality. Let's see what he does. Another Ardent Plea. It's not gonna be good enough. Like, I think we can even, like, even if he cascades every turn now, I don't think he can win without a Fury now in this very spot. Alright, then I think we get him. Alrighty, so we're playing another Seagate Wreckage. Gonna play another Brutal Cathar. Gonna pump the Thalia's Lieutenant, which is also good. Then we can play the Hopeful Initiate as well, and then attack with the Mutavolt. So he has to block the Thalia's Lieutenant. I can utilize the SP Sentinel here. So he has to block here. He can take 4 potentially and just block the Mutavolt. I think that's an option for him. But then he can't shock anymore. So I think it's worth it for me. Definitely don't want to have these two. And I just can protect the Guardian of Nubenalia as well, so... Alright, he does that. Yeah. And he's taken 5 even. And that's okay for me. So he can't shock anymore. Fury doesn't really help him anymore. So I don't even know what gets him out of this. Also, he has to play a spell each turn to not have the Brutal Catharist flip, because if they do, it's game over anyway. So let's see. Alright, he doesn't do anything, so that means Brutal Catharist flip. Now we can't target them anymore. We get another Thalia's Lieutenant here. Yeah. Alright, so that was surprisingly great. I think we want to have the Hollow Moonlight, as that stops the Rhinos from entering the battlefield as well. And then we'll have to see, so let's see. So I want to have the Alliance. I think I want to have the Auric Champions, because that's really good against most of what our opponent is doing. So our opponent was playing Fire Eyes, which means maybe, but he's still 5 color with white, so he's probably also playing Ley Lines. So I will keep the Hopeful Initiate in, I think. Also, there's Ardent Plea that is a worthwhile target as well. So Brutal Thor is good. Anointed Peacekeeper is also good. What do I want to get rid of here? I think here do I need to get rid of the Farmhand? It's not really a game about consistency and value, at least not in the first stages of the game. Or is Anointed Peacekeeper just too slow? Yeah, I think I'm just gonna get rid of Anointed Peacekeeper, because we have other ways of dealing with that. And then I'm just gonna ditch one of those to keep the farmhands around, because the flip side is gonna be very good in the late game, if I can get there. Yeah, let's keep. It's certainly not perfect, but I think it's okay, because if you cannot get rid of our Champion of the Parish early on, then these are gonna outgrow our opponent's Rhinos pretty quickly. And that's also a good pickup. Hopefully we're gonna draw another white source though, so that I can play multiples, because otherwise I'm somewhat scared that if I play the Thalia's Lieutenant, he's gonna, in response, Fire Eyes me. Okay. Let's start off, like, just to make sure that he doesn't get a 2-for-1 here with Fire Eyes. I'm just gonna start off with a Hopeful Initiate here. Maybe he has a Leyline Binding here, but then he probably has to get rid of the Hopeful Initiate by more so than... Okay, so he didn't make a play there. Does that mean he has a Fury in hand? Yeah, alright. Omnath. Alright, Alright, so it is an Omnath deck. Interesting. And that's Ardent Plea. So we can get rid of one Rhino right away. And then we can pump both, which is also not the worst. Also, our opponent's already off 15, so we're in a racing situation. And then L-Line is also a decent pickup. Of course, it always depends, but... So next turn, the Hopeful Initiate is going to grow from the Brute Cathar, which means at some point we can also get rid of the Ardent Plea or any other... Hopefully it doesn't have another Omnath. Alright, for 5. Let's see. Interesting. Just gets the Kahira. What does that mean? Pooh. So now this actually makes me inclined to want to go with the L-Line. Yeah, I think I need to get the power on the battlefield also. It's just good combination with Athalia's Lieutenant next turn. So we're attacking for 6 here. And he needs to do something, like... I mean, if he does have another Omnath in hand, that would of course be great for him. Fury as well. Let's see. So probably another Omnath plus a land. Yeah. Fuck. Yeah, Omnath is the worst here for us. Okay, at least no additional mana. That's something. And I can flip the Moonrage Sage again next turn. Moonrage Brood, I should say. I'm gonna do that. So we're down to 10. Whew. So next turn I can play this and flip this immediately. So probably want to go with this into Thalia's Lieutenant. So this becomes a 4-5. Let's see. Really have to think about this. So if I attack with the Adeline here, so I'm gonna attack with these 3 anyway, right? Because this and this together is gonna be lethal. There's gonna be an 8th token, so this is gonna be an 8-5. 8 plus 4 is 12. So he needs to block one of these 2, right? And if that's the case, then I can also attack with this. Alright. Let's see. Because he needs to block the line, I think. And then he's down to 2. I get the flip. Get the Rhino. And then, what can you do, my friend? What do you have? Yeah, GG's. Alright, welcome to round number 3 here. We're on the draw, and I think I need to mulligan. Although, like, we have a lot of 1-drops, but it's just too risky. So I'm gonna go with 1 Ether Vial, put 1 on bottom, so that we still have a couple of things that we can play, and then we shall see. Geo. Hopefully no Ragavan. Alright, Rage Chandler. Which is okay. So if we're playing against Murktide, I'm liking where we are. Of course, on the play would be way better, but I think Ether Vial is going to be great here. And Brute Cathar can also do a little bit of work. Now we only need like an Esper Sentinel or whatever. Alright, so our opponent's already thinking about what we have on top, so I assume it's not land. Or maybe it is land, because, and the basic planes or whatever, and he's thinking about whatever we could be playing here. Let's see. Perfect. Ambitious Farmhand is exact. Yeah, oh, I do understand the confusion now. But it's actually exactly the card that I want here to stay on curve, and that's also why I have it in the deck, right? Because if this goes through on turn 2, I can like have a turn 3 play, which I otherwise wouldn't be able to do. He's playing a Ragavan. All right. All right, Brutal Cathar would have been a good pickup for us as well, but I think it's still all right. So Ambitious Farmhand is going to be a 2-for-1 anyway, like in any scenario. Unless he has a Spell Snare. Then that would be... And that's also a good pickup, I have to say. Because that blocks the Dragon Rage Chandler completely. Very good. And then next turn we can go with an Alliant Peacekeeper plus Athalia's Lieutenant, which is also pretty good. Alright, so he's killing the Ambitious Farmhand, which is already also a good thing. If he wants to tag with a Ragavan, like, he needs a very, very specific set of cards to protect it. So he needs a land plus a Ragavan plus a removal spell, yeah, which is unlikely. If he attacks with a Dragon Rage Chandler, I'm going to block with the Hopeful Initiate. Otherwise, I'm just going to go after the Ragavan. Alright. Because this is an easy 2-for-1 that I'm definitely willing to take. And then after this, we're going to go into the other direction. Then we're going to take the initiative and go on the offense. And I don't think there's... I mean, he could have a Murktide, of course, but I don't think that is going to be enough. Even. Oh, Champion of the Parish. This changes things, actually. I think now I'm going to go Brutal Cathar, eat my own champion. If he plays it. Because he won't be able to go... Like, even if he has a Murktide, he needs either a fetch land or another spell. And at that point... Like, if he kills the Brutal Cathar, that's gonna mean that I'm gonna get the champion back, which in the end is gonna be card advantage for me. And yeah, we have just an overwhelming force here on the battlefield already. So I'm not too worried even for a Murktide. Although this is the greedy play. This is definitely not the conservative line. This is a greedy play. Because there was in no way a necessity to go after the champion. Yeah, alright. I think this game's over. So let's take up to 3. Another Ambitious Farmhand, which I don't dislike, I have to say. Let's go with this first, actually. Yeah, there's a Murktide in there, so I'm just gonna make that more expensive. Murktide, Regent. So generally speaking, this is not a good idea because they can just delve the additional costs away, but in this scenario where he's gonna only have 5 cards next turn, in his graveyard, and he needs to pay 2 more. It's actually a good play. So let's do this. Get another land, which means next turn I can flip the ambitious farmhand, which will make racing a lot better for us. And then we're gonna be attacking for a bunch. Yeah, another upside, by the way, against like Murktide and Scam, etc., is that you're completely immune to Blood Moon. Like there was one game where I was caught off guard without an Ether Vial, without a Vicious Farmhand, and just a Mutable, like a Nigancho and another Mutable or something. But generally speaking, like you will always have either a Plains, an Ether Vial, or one of the other things there. Alright, so against these mid-range or tempo decks, we're not keeping this. I do want to have all my Sanctifiers, as they're very good here. I do want to have Adeline. We're going to cut down on the Ether Vial. And I think this is already it. Yeah. I think this is okay. I could bring in Auric Champion, because they are pretty good in a racing situation. But I wouldn't know. Like maybe one against Athalia. Yeah, let's go with 1 over Athalia here. Difficult. I mean, yeah, let's keep. We have a lot of outs. Any Plains is good. Any ambitious farmhand is going to be good. Let's see. And then, of course, at that point, like if we get this down, Ragavan and the Dragon Rage Chandler is basically dead. Also, the Brook Authorities are going to be good against Murktides and Ledger Shredder. Definitely need land now. So hopefully, like he's gonna kill this and try to connect. So hopefully we don't have a white source on top. That will be the absolute worst case scenario, which hopefully doesn't happen. Yeah, he has to have removal, yeah. Now it all depends on whether or not we draw another white source or an ambitious farmhand. No, that was the farmhand. Oh. That's super strong here for our opponent as well. Because we basically can replace this. Oh no, it can only fetch for Plains. But he's gonna play it. Yeah. So it's not as good. Come on, white source. Okay. Alright, so now we're back in the game. I was very close there for just a second, but that's alright. So Sanctifier, then we can play into the Adeline. We shall have to see. Because he will need a Brazen Bora or Dress Down, something like that. Or an Engineered Explosives to get rid of that Sanctifier. And he already knows about my Adeline as well. I can also, maybe that's what I'm going to do. I think the best play next turn is going to be... Oh, fuck you. Thales Lieutenant. Like, if he's gonna play this now, I'm gonna eat... Like, I'm just gonna go with a Brutal Cathar and eat the thing, yeah. This is too much for me. Fuck you. Because that means if I get... Like, if he kills the Brutal Cathar, I get this thing back. And I get the land drop as well. And then I can play, like, Sanctifier plus Guardian, which I think is just better. Greedy motherfucker. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna block if you attack. I'm gonna get this. So basically getting a 3-for-1 here, which is good. So I kinda expect my opponent to have... Which one do I rather have in play here? What do I bait him with? I guess we're gonna go with Guardian. I think that my opponent has a subtlety in hand. He knows about the Sanctifier, of course. But the Guardian is almost as good as the Sanctifier, and I can just follow up with Hopeful Initiative if I want to. Although, that's probably better combined with the Adeline here, or with the Brutal Cathar. Yeah. This is what I expected. But that's also okay. I think I'm gonna put that to the top, right? Yeah. And then we're gonna go with the Sanctifier. So. And at some point we're gonna have to flip this to raise our opponent, because he's gonna have like quite the air force. The Brazen Boar was very annoying for us because he had the follow-up plays. We've taken a couple of hits off that Ragavan, which is also very annoying. But I think I'm gonna play the Adeline next. Dragon Rage Channeler. It's not a big deal. Oh, it's a human. Ooh. Actually, it's a human. Pooh. Yeah, he's very aggressive here. The thing, though, is that now, like, he's attacking for 5. Yeah, let's have this resolve. Now I'll have to see. Okay. So either I'm gonna go with the Adeline play. Which will put quite a bit of power onto the battlefield. Maybe that's better, because then Thales Lieutenant is also virtually dead, and then the turn after that I can go with the Brutal Cathar and I don't have to target this. Yeah, I think that's better. Alright, let's go with this. And this. Then we attack with both. We get an extra token. And then we're off to the races. Now this is 4, putting him down to 15. We can take, well, like, worst case scenario, we take 6 next turn. 6 plus double bolt would be worst case scenario, probably, but on that. Okay. That's fine for me, I think. Because now it's just going to be 3 a turn. And if he has a Fury or whatever, then he probably has to phone himself to get rid of the Adeline. If he cannot get rid of the L line, then he has an issue here. Well, we're also dangerously low already. He's attacking, alright? Yeah. I have to block. Like, this very likely means he has an Unholy Heat in hand, but I think I have to block here. We're gonna attack for 5 next turn. I can eat the Subtlety. What happens if I don't do this? Like, he has an Unholy Heat, and he can go after the Hopeful Initiate. I'm at 5, which means I have to go Brutal Cathar onto the Subtlety, and my opponent also doesn't... basically cannot have Lightning Bolt. He already played one. I think we're taking the risk. Because the payoff is just a very high. Like, if we draw... He has the Fury, alright. No, Ragavan. And what? If he has another Subtlety, of course, this is also pretty over. Okay, now he's probably holding up for the Brazen Borrow, which means I have to go after the Subtlety, right? And he's gonna block the L-line with the Ragavan, I assume. So it doesn't really matter if I do this pre-combat or post-combat. But what he cannot do is he cannot remove, like, play the Brazen Borrow and remove my Brutal Cathar in the same turn. Oh, he's taking the damage, alright. So he's banking everything on being able to kill me next turn. So we're taking the Subtlety. There's no other way around it. Yeah. And then he needs to have a removal spell to win it. It's very possible that he has like 1 or 2 counter spells in hand as well. Let's see. He's getting 3 damage for free, right? I can block 1, I can block 2. So Lightning Bolt or double removal. Okay. A little weird that he has Armored Charm in his deck post-board. But let's see. If he cannot win here, we're gonna win next turn. I think. Okay. If he slow rolled a Lightning Bolt here, like, I'm gonna get really mad. That's a Murktide. Okay, so he has 3 blockers. How much do I need to get through? 5 damage. So he has to block. Oh, that's very good. That is very good. That should be lethal, right? Yeah. So let's go. That has to be lethal. And there's even one more coming. He won't be able to keep this in check. Because even if these 3 go through, it's already 6. Yeah. GG's. Folks, welcome to round number 4. We're on the draw with, well, a moto hand. Alright, so let's keep this. Ditch one of the initiates and pass the turn. So if we're playing against Scam, then Guardian of Nubenalia is going to be our most important card. If we're playing against Creativity, we don't have a chance. But it looks like we might be playing against Scam. Or maybe even Grixis Scam, which would be interesting. So I'm going to start off with Guardian of Nubenalia nonetheless, because it's just easier to keep her around. Like if our opponent does have removal. Yeah, we're playing against Grixis something. Fable. Maybe it's Creativity after all, actually. And then we can't even stop it, like, because he will attack with a Goblin token, which will mean he's gonna get an additional token, and then he can just, like, even if we block, we won't be able to stop Creativity. I guess now we will know more. Salties persist indicates we're playing against Creativity. Hardened scales, hard evidence, I should say, not hardened scales. But maybe it doesn't have the Creativity part of it yet. And Brul Cathar can also get in there. So how many of these things does he want to make? So I have to play in a way where I can deal lethal next turn, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, as long as the Thalia is on the play, like he's got this thing, but that doesn't provide mana. He didn't attack with a Goblin Shaman, which is a little bit weird. Yeah, I cannot risk playing the Brul Cathar here, I think, so I have to play with the Thalia's Lieutenant. Gonna activate the Mutavault so that we have it at the ready. And then I guess we're gonna be attacking with the Guardian of Nubenalia and not with Thalia, because otherwise, like if this stops him from attacking with the Goblin Shaman, I'm okay with it. If he does have creativity, it's over. This time he's attacking, okay. Or does he have an Archon? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will be 1, 6 will be 2. Oh, we can't be 2. In any scenario. One is okay, I think. 2 is not okay. Yeah, and this is of course worst case scenario, like as I said. We can beat anything, but without the Ovars, we can't beat this shit. So I'm gonna bring this in. I think I'm gonna ditch the Brutal Cathars here. And instead go with Hollow Moonlight. I think the Guardian is also not super great here. Actually, I think I want to add a line here more. Yeah, let's do it this way. Pooh. It's a horrible hand. All right, let's try. Let's see where we get this. But as I said, like if you have 3 Alvars in the sideboard, now we also were on the draw, on the play, we win the game there, game 1. If you have 3 Alvars in the sideboard, you're actually in a good spot. Like, it's not super unlikely that you lose this. That you, what did I say? It's not super unlikely that you win this with the respective sideboard cards. But Hollow Moonlight is such, like, it's a signal, first of all, because you have to keep mana open, so your opponent can play around it. It doesn't synergize with Thalia, so like there's just a lot of things going on that are very, very bad with the Hollow Moonlight. But it doesn't cost 60 euros, and therefore it's in the deck. Still, I like that we, like, no matter what we're playing against, even without the sideboard cards here against creativity, like, we can put up a fight. Some of you might have also seen me play against Andrea Mengucci, and there was the same thing, like, he was on creativity, and it's just not a feasible option. And I think this is a mistake by my opponent. Like, now I can name Lightning Bolt, and he will have to pay 4 for it, and the rest of the cards is pretty dead. So that's what we're gonna do. Lightning Bolt. Bolt, please. Bolt. Lightning Bolt. Thank you. And he even shocked there. So next turn we're attacking for 6. He has absolutely no viable plays except for maybe a Thoughtseize. Of course, the Thoughtseize can go after the Moonlight. So yeah, we shall see. It's another shock. He's putting himself down to 9, and we have 6 on the battlefield. Alright. Yeah, okay, I see it. But this is actually even better for me. And like, now he doesn't know about the Hollow Moonlight. It won't work, what he's planning. I could even run on the Peacekeeper on the Persist. Like, do I want to do that rather? Actually, maybe that's better. because then he doesn't know. Yeah, because then he doesn't know about the moonlight. It's just persist, right? Yeah. So now we could utilize the lightning bolt for 4. We get an extra draw. He won't be able to, like, I don't think he can win here. Also, another good thing here is that my opponent hasn't seen, like, he's heavily interacting with the graveyard and he's not playing Ren and 6. Thus, he's playing 4 persist and he's trying to discard the Archon, right? So on the draw, I definitely need to switch up a couple of things. I think Ambitious Farmhand is just a little bit too slow on the draw. I want to have more of these, but I cannot cut all of the Ambitious Farmhands because I need to have the plains in my hand as well. So I think maybe I'm going to cut one of those for one of additional of those. Maybe that's a little bit too much. Well, let's go with this. Okay, we got a Vial, we got an Esper Sentinel. We got the things that I want to see here early on, and then we need to draw into other stuff. Okay, that wasn't one of them. Let's see how fast our opponent is. So, what do I do here? I think I'm just gonna attack with the Mutavault. If he wants to kill it, that's fine with me. Probably a Fable, no? Okay, that can only mean that he has the turn 4 creativity at the ready. So this is a little... Oh my god. Alright. Yeah, we haven't drawn well. Not gonna lie. Okay. So let's see. If he has the turn, the creativity next turn, I don't think I can bluff here. Like, he knows most of my hand, therefore. Like, we're putting him down to 7. If he has the creativity, then he probably wins. If he doesn't have the creativity right now, he probably loses. Let's see. Okay. Do I put this on 3? Yeah, I think I do, right? What do I? What did I put out? I got rid of the Brew Catharis, thus we have 6 3-drops that we can hit, but they're very important. If I hit an add line here, or... What does my gut say? No. Alright. Let's see. Now we have all the means to win. Let's see if this is gonna work out or not. He's gonna need more than this, though. Lol. Alright, welcome to round number 5. We're 4-0. We beat basically all the staples in the format right now. And we've been on the draw 3 games in a row here. I don't like keeping hands without a 1-drop, but I think it's okay here. Because we can respond to quite a few... Oh, our opponent's playing an 80 card deck. Lol. Let's see. He's playing an 80 card deck and has the Grief combo on turn 1. Alright then. Let's see what our opponent's doing. I don't think we're going to win game 1 here. Could be wrong, of course. Most important card is going to be Guardian of Nubenalia, but seeing that he's playing Priest of Felrites and white means that it's probably got some graveyard combos going on, which means we don't have a way to interact with that pre-board. So hopefully he's not gonna take the Guardian, because that card I want to keep. Ah, damn it. 1-drop. Nope. Sad, but at least a decent 2-drop that we drew, that we can build up on. Also, our opponent has spent quite a few resources already, so... Alright, and does have the Ragavan as well. Both of which, like, in his 80 card fucking deck, what? But we should be able to completely lock him out now, if he doesn't have another land. Fuck! You motherfucking lucker. Wow. 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 And he's even playing more than 80 cards, right? He's playing 87 cards. Because he's, of course, had already drawn the things. Oh my goodness. Double Grief Ragavan in his 80 card fucking deck. Alright, yeah, so hopefully this last card isn't a removal. 1 mana removal, because we definitely need to stop that Ragavan. We should be able to raise this Grief even later in the game. I just wanna... No, don't tell me you have another Ragavan. This is so fucking retarded. What the fuck is going on here? Honestly, what the fuck? Like, how is that even possible? Double Grief, double Ragavan in your fucking 87 card deck? Fuck you. Alright, we're down to 11. But now we have an actual, like, blocking shit here. So he shouldn't be able to attack anymore unless he has a removal spell or, like, a Fury. Plus another red spell next turn. So we'll not attack. I just want to have the ability to find more lands. On the time, I should say. Other. Terminate. Season Power Mesa. You got to be fucking shitting me, dude. What the fuck is going on here? Honestly. Motherfucking luck fuck. Fucking shit. So obviously, like, I would like to play the Aetherwall here, but I think I have to play the champion. So that even if he removes one creature, we still have enough blockers. So our opponent, who kept a 1-lander, you got to be fucking kidding me, dude. What the fuck is going on here? LOL. Oh man. This is the most retarded shit I've ever seen. Wow. Another season Power Man's alright? Yes! Yes! Obviously. Obviously. Yes. Okay. Come again, motherfucker. Alright, so we're gonna ditch the Anointed Peacekeeper. I think I'm also gonna ditch the Blue Cathars. Alliance coming in. And like sideboard cards, like he's playing 87 cards. Should I even be boarding? Fuck this. I'm just gonna play this. Typically, I want to play less Ether Vials against these types of decks, but I think getting the Seagate Wreckage online is equally as important. Let me start off with the Caverns. If he does have a... Okay, good. I was like, if he has another Grief here, I'm gonna flip. Okay. So I think our opponent's also playing Persist, so there's definitely a couple of shenanigans combos going on. But we now have pretty, like, we have a good clock. We should have a turn 4 kill. Let's see. Fury, of course, is going to be an issue either way. But I don't think I'm playing around it here. Also, he needs to have Fury plus Feign Death or whatever. Otherwise, he's going to die. So I'm going to attack first, so that my token also gets the plus. And then next turn we have lethal. And we can't do more than this. Now the only thing I think that saves him here is going to be a Fury. Let's see. Okay. So off to the final round. I think I'm going to keep it the same. Yeah. I'm going to roll it back. See where it goes. Okay. Our opponent must have, like, weird hands in between. He's playing 87 cards. Like, it's impossible for him to have consistency in there. Yeah. Alright, let's go with the Esper Sentinel. Maybe that discourages him from doing a couple of things. Then we're gonna follow up with Sanctifier. And then we should be cutting off most of his combo shenanigans. At which point we just need another land. Land would definitely be good. And then I'm not sure if I want to follow up with an Warrior Champion and make myself susceptible to an engineered explosives. Our opponent doesn't even have a through land drop. This is so weird. Yeah, let's attack and then follow up with an Auric champion. See what our opponent does. As that will help in the race. Should there be a race at some point? Alright, so by now I'm feeling pretty good about, you know, what we're doing here. Also, he can't even go with an engineered explosives on 2 next turn, so I'm definitely going to go with this. Because that will increase our clock to basically 2 turns. We're attacking 4, 6, 7 this turn. So that means next turn we have lethal. Alrighty, GG's. So 6 trophies means that, where are we? Not on page 1, but shortly behind it, like 3 spots behind the first page, basically. On wider screens is the first page. All right, so just to recap real quickly, I hope everybody was able to see the power of mono white humans taxes in Modern right now. One thing that I would like to fit into the main board is Adeline, but I currently just don't see a spot for it. And of course, at some point, I would also play 3 overs in the sideboard. But as everything else goes, I think it was very obvious here that the deck is absolutely fantastic, very consistent. And we were even on the draw 3 games out of these 5 of 3 matches. And we still won all of them. So yeah, I would, like, from power level perspective, I think let's maybe just quickly wait. Yeah, so here we are again. Just quickly, I wanted to go over where you have positive matchups, right? Tier 1, you have a positive matchup against Scam, I would say around 60%. You can lose if they have a broken draw like our opponent did game 1. But generally speaking, like, a very good matchup, I think. Creativity, if you have the Orvars in the sideboard, you have a very good shot. I would put it like slightly above 50% with 3 Orvars. Otherwise, you're definitely down, like, depending on play draw. Like, sometimes you can get them, but you're like 35 to 45%, somewhere around that. But Orvar increases that percentage by at least 10%. So with Orvars, I would say it's slightly positive. Is it Murktide? I have like 95%, but I would put it win rate, but I would realistically put it between 60 and 70%. Like, you can outvalue them, you can outrun them, you can out disruption them, you know. Here the same as with Rakdos Scam. Sometimes they have hands that you can't beat, but most of the time you should be winning. Hammer Time is a tougher one. I would put the win rate around like 50%. Very draw goer dependent. You have a couple of options in the main board and the sideboard to deal with it, but it always depends on how fast they are, etc. So generally speaking, I think slightly below 50%, maybe 48, 49% or something. To 2, Amulet Titan, you just don't have a chance against. Don't even try it. Don't board against it. Don't do anything against it. If your opponent's not completely stuck, Amulet Titan is not for you. You have like 25%. 4C Rhinos, I think, slightly positive as well. Also, depending on the sideboard, if you're playing with Hollowed Moonlights instead of Orvars, it's very positive. If you're playing with the Orvars over the Hollow Moonlights, it's slightly positive, like around 55%, I would say. Jeskai Breach, very positive, around 60-65%. Domain Zoo, very draw-go dependent. Very much depends on the build that they're playing. Most of the time you should be able to overrun them or overwhelm them, but if they have like Wildnakadal into Kavu into Scion of Draco, then that's probably not going to be your game. Otherwise, though, you have a very decent shot. I would say 53 to 55% in your favor. Living End, very good matchup, around 60%, as you have Guardian of Nubenalia. If you hit that, you're basically able to outrun them like 90% of the time. And the post board, you have, if you're playing the Hollow Moonlight version, you have that. You have 4 copies of Sanctify Invoke, or you could also play 2 copies of Rest in Peace. So you have a lot of ways of getting rid of all the black cards, which means the Architects are dead, the Griefs are dead. So there's already like 8 to 12 cards that are not going to come back from the graveyard. Your opponent needs to board Endurance to get rid of your graveyard in response. So all of these things combined, I would put it between 55 and 65% in your favor. Tier 3 is where this deck starts sucking, I would say. Hardened Scales without Stony Silence, very, very bad matchup, around 40%, maybe lower. Force the Omnath or any Elementals list you can win is like 25%. Yawgmoth, you can win. It's difficult. Depends on whether or not you hit an early Anointed Peacekeeper. Then it's like 50-50. But generally speaking, it's a tough matchup between 45 and 50% at the most. Azorius Control, tough matchup. Burn, very good matchup, 60-70%. Merfolk, I think you can mostly overrun them because your things are growing faster than they are. But they do, of course, have a little bit of removal and dismember, and they do have Suilun, which, when it's indestructible, is definitely a pain in the ass for you, but you should have around 60% against Merfolk. Tron, very bad matchup. Like, if they have turn 3 Tron, there's almost no way that you win. Sometimes you can overwhelm them, I would say 35 to 40%. And I'm not going to go lower, but the more fringe your opponent stack is, the less good is the matchup for you, I would say. Because I built the deck very much to fit the current meta, to beat the top decks. And you have to know what your opponent's playing. If they're doing some fringe stuff that you haven't seen before, you know, your Anointed Peacekeeper is going to miss many a time, and maybe you're going to not hit the right creatures with your Buru Kothar, etc. So all these things are coming into play at that point, but excluding these factors, I think against the top, what are these 9 decks here that are listed as tier 1 and tier 2, I think with the exception of Amulet Titan, you have play against everything, and against most of these decks you're actually favored. So take this home. If you enjoy humans or any of that sort, I think it can beat all of these decks. Maybe it's not a tier 1 deck, maybe it's not even a tier 2 deck, although I would say on power level it's probably around the tier 2 list here. But yeah, that's it from my side. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful weekend and Happy New Year, and then we'll see each other in the next year, guys.